So instead we'll be squinting.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live interview with BigWorldNetwork.com, the world's premier episodic literary network. I'm Jim McGovern, joined by my co-host today, Big World Network Managing Editor and COO, Amanda Mavison. Hello, Amanda.
Hello, and it's just the two of us today. Mario is busy with some family stuff today, so sadly we have to do it without him.
So any technical glitches we're automatically going to blame on Mario. So,
joined by my co-host.
And already I'm hearing
Audio
there. Oh, that's somebody else. Anyhow, with us today is Trina Boice and Traceey Long. Welcome.
Some family stuff. No, it's still going. If either of you, just real quick, if either of you have it open in another way besides this window, it might be playing that way.
Mario. So, joined by my co-host.
If you have YouTube open, it'll.
If you have YouTube open or Google Plus, that would be why we might have
there it goes.
Double.
All right. Anyhow, with us today
it's appropriate that you had double sound because today you will have double sound with the Trina and Tracey twins.
Identical twins.
The whole session's going to be in stereo.
Yeah. So fortunately, we have the name labels under both of you, so we'll be able to tell you apart. But you are actually identical twins, correct?
We are, unless we mix up the labels. Here, really quick, Trina, jump into the other screen.
Oh, you can't do that to us. That's all right. We can tell you apart. So anyhow, if you'd like to participate and ask questions, you can on the Google Hangouts directly. If you're on YouTube, I believe there's a link, but the easiest way would be questions@bigworldnetwork.com. Just email your questions, and we will pass them on to both Trina and Tracey. So welcome, and I guess I'll get started with asking you guys a few questions, and then we'll let Amanda take it from there. So actually, before I get going, Trina, you are doing a book giveaway for people that ask questions, correct?
I am, that's correct. Anyone who asks a question live during this interview gets to go onto my website, trinaboice.com, and pick out any book, and I will send it to you.
Fantastic. We better exclude Big World Network authors and narrators and stuff.
They've all already read both books anyway, right?
That's
of
right.
course.
That's right.
Well, Trina's got 19 books published that she can just give away anytime.
Yeah. And Trina is one of our few, if not only, nonfiction authors on Big World Network. I think we've had 2 nonfiction series other than yours, but you're definitely a very prolific writer. So let me start with that. Actually, I guess we'll start with Trina. Did you write much as a child?
I did. You know, as a little girl, I wrote my school assignments, and of course, I thought mine were so brilliant compared to my classmates. And I kept a few of them, and years later, of course, I looked at them, and they were horrible. So,
now, wait a minute. Was Tracey one of your classmates?
No,
she was turning in my paperwork. Hers were actually brilliant. It was my stories that were not.
No, actually, they intentionally kept us in separate classes in elementary school, and then in middle school, when we could start picking our classes, we decided we wanted to be together. So, and then even in high school, we had a few classes. We did swap classes, though, to try to trick teachers. People always want to hear our twin stories. Tracey was really good at some subjects, and I was really good at other subjects. And I remember sitting in a class one day and kind of hear a light tapping on the window. And I looked over and I see Tracey, and she walks in and she says, "Oh, I need to talk to Trina." And so I walked out. She's like, "I have an algebra test. Can we swap classes?" I shouldn't be telling you this, but so I don't even think we were wearing the same clothes that day. And so I was like, okay, fine, because I was going to algebra. So anyway, yeah. So I went into her class, took the test. She aced it, And I don't even know what she was doing in my class, so I shouldn't tell you these terrible stories. But anyway, so as a little girl, though, I actually always knew I wanted to be an author. I didn't know what I was going to write, but I just knew I was going to be an author. And for some reason, I think I was going through the garage looking through things, and I found this little tiny box that had index cards, you know, the little 3x5 index cards, and they had quotes and stories. Turns out they were my dad's, but they were in my garage for some reason, and I thought they were amazing. So I kept them, and then I kept adding to them and added so many things that I ended up in a shoe box, and then adding more and more, and then I ended up into big boxes, and then graduated to 12 filing cabinets before the internet was invented. And of course now I have all kinds of material online. So I just sort of, from a young age, I always wanted to gather inspiring thoughts and quotes, and I guess I thought that's the kind of author I wanted to be, was somebody that shared inspiring thoughts and quotes and stories.
Yeah. What about you, Tracy? Were you ever bitten by the writing bug as a child?
I just copied all of Trina's homework, so I was a prolific writer. She was the more intelligent twin.
That's not true.
I hope none of your teachers are watching from grade school.
They probably already suspected.
Well, what's funny is that we're both educators now. So now we're on the reverse side of having to catch our students cheating.
That's right.
Well, yeah, it feels like more lately my writing has been more technical, and I'm a college nursing professor, and so I've written articles that are published in nursing journals, and of course my dissertation consumed quite a few years of my life.
Oh, so you have your PhD.
I do.
We should be calling you doctor.
Dr. Quinn. So, but Trina, she just keeps pumping out these books, and she is a true idea guru. She has this amazing mind that constantly is cataloging ideas, and she produces them in books. And what I love is that she looks for basic problems of life, and she comes up with solutions, like the how to stay up in a down economy. That was a direct answer to a lot of people's questions in this most recent troubling economy. So I love that she is a solution-minded author and answers questions to real life.
Well, that's sweet of you, Faith.
And speaking of which, there's the cover. Amanda, we'll talk to you about the books here in just a little bit. But I'll tell you what, don't sell yourself short, though. Technical writing is extremely challenging, Tracy. So that's a art form in itself, writing for journals and things. But that's fantastic. Have either of you ever considered writing fiction?
Yes. In fact, Trina and I have a book in the background that we started to collaborate on, and life happened, and so it's been put on the back burner, and so we're hoping that might be produced someday.
Which book is that? Actually, we have about 500 books in the back burner that we work on.
Well, as far as a nonfiction one, The Sons of Helaman.
Oh. That you mean fiction?
Yeah, but no, writing fiction is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, yes. So we'll see if that one can have a birth of its own. But she and I do have a list of at least a dozen other nonfiction, and that tends to be more of our niche, I think. We're all very impressed by people who really are creative fiction writers, because Trina really excels at organizing existing truths and packaging them in a way that is just makes sense to people in a nonfiction way, the how-to type style books. And so both of us are really impressed with people who can create characters and make them come to a new life. So we are hoping that maybe we'll do something like that in the future.
Yeah. I have to ask. Oh, go ahead.
I really admire fiction authors who can create these worlds that don't exist in real life. I think that that's real writing. And it's funny, it's true, Amanda, you're one of those. I go to author conferences, and the fiction authors will come up to me and they'll say, how do you write nonfiction? And I'm like, oh, that's easy. How do you write fiction? And they're like, oh, that's easy.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't call nonfiction easy to write. Hey, I have to ask both of you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you live in two different cities, correct? Trina, you are in Las Vegas. Tracy, where do you live?
We're in Las Vegas, too. For many years, we were very separated. Trina was living in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been living in Las Vegas for my whole married life. And then she took a couple years in Carlsbad near San Diego, California. And finally, her work and her husband's work brought them here to Viva Las Vegas. So I'm so happy because it's very, very fun to be able to get together for miscellaneous lunches and dinners and shopping and events and have the kids get to really know each other well. So we're both here in Viva Las Vegas.
That's fantastic. That's a fun city. So, once again, before I hand this over to Amanda, ask you guys some questions. Again, if you want to ask questions live, you can do that through the Google Hangouts, or you can email your questions to questions@bigworldnetwork.com. So, with that, Amanda.
So I'm going to actually go specifically through the books while Jim shows off the awesome cover designs that Mario did. So let's start with the first one that we did with Trina alone, was How to Stay Up in a Down Economy. And like all of our series, it started off episodically on the website and then had the finished book. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came to write that one?
Oh, well, there you go. Free is my jam. So I've always been into saving money, and in fact, for many years I wrote a newsletter called not called that. What was it called? Oh, Deals That Are Nifty by Sister Thrifty.
I like that.
And so I kind of had just a collection of things that I had shared with people, and people kept always saying, you need to turn this into a book. And so Big World Network came into my life, and I thought, oh, this is fantastic. And this was the first time I had written in an episodic type of format, and for this book it worked so well because it really forced me to spend 1 week just studying and analyzing everything on a specific topic, write the chapter, get it out, and then immediately start researching for the next chapter. So it forced me. I think one of the biggest obstacles that writers have is that, life happens and there's nothing urgent about writing a book. But when you write with an episodic chapter in mind, you've got to get it out. So it actually took a year, though, to complete the entire book with all of the content that was in there. And I think without Big World Network, it just would have been on that back burner and never would have finished. So finally, we got it done. I think it was 4 Big World Network seasons, wasn't it?
I think so. That would make sense for a year because that's how we do it with the 4 12-week seasons. So I think that sounds right for the year's worth, yeah. We like to force you guys to write by giving you those important deadlines, every week. You got to get that chapter in.
And just as a reminder, you can, I have the Amazon page up here, but of course you can find How to Stay Up in a Down Economy by Trina at Amazon, and it's available in both paperback and Kindle.
Oh, thanks for the plug. Yeah, I think it's neat. Big World Network allows readers to correspond or to post remarks or just to be able to interact with the authors. So during the creation of the book, people would post messages on Big World Network's site and say, oh, hey, do you have a chapter coming about such and such? And if I didn't, then I could say, I sure will, and then I would that topic, So it was neat to kind of get the feedback from readers while I was creating the entire book. It was really great.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things, too, because it's having that community collaboration surprises you how it might change the direction you go and just filled the book with that much better content because you can't always think of everything by yourself. As you would know, as twins who then wrote a book together, which is the perfect segue into the other book that we did with you guys, Serialized. So this was a collaboration, the second book that Trina brought to us with her sister, Climbing Family Trees, Whispers in the Leaves, both inspirational and specifically about genealogy, which, because of my mother, I absolutely was obsessed with and in love with for the longest time, too. And it's a fantastic story with anecdotes from tons of different people besides Tracy and Trina as well exploring this stuff. And I'm just curious about especially how the collaboration aspect was, passing the chapters back and forth to each other.
Yeah, that was a really fun book to write, and in fact, we had people from all over the world sending us the stories to add to the content, the how-to part of it, which was really, really neat. They're kind of serendipitous stories of people who've been doing their family history research and kind of felt help coming from the other side, if you know what I mean. But what's amazing is as we were collaborating, I think it was before cloud computing really was a big thing, my computer crashed and I lost the manuscript. So luckily, because I had a co-author, Tracy had the book and was able to send it to me, and then her computer crashed. So in that case, that was a great blessing that we had two of us working on the product, really, in Big World Network. Of course, you guys had a lot of it too, but it was really fun to collaborate. And her style is a little bit different than my style, and I think you put two heads together and you get a much better product.
Trina and I have always been amateur genealogists or family history buffs, and so as we would search out our own family history, we always felt those serendipitous experiences where we would be looking for a particular relative and somehow we would meet someone who would stumble and bring us to new data that would extend our family tree. And so we always feel very, very strong that our deceased relatives are not deceased at all. They're just on another limb of the family tree and very much want to be found and connected. And so we sent out query letters to really dozens and dozens of genealogy websites and groups, family history clubs, and asked people if they had any serendipitous style type stories where they felt like their ancestors were really helping them, trying to find them. And we got really hundreds. And so the ones that we put in the book were really only a small selection of the many stories that we got. And it was just really fun to hear the triumphs and the precious stories, including one about even a dog that helped bring family links together. So just a lot of fun. In fact, behind me, I have just a little framed version of a small pedigree just because we just really love family, and it's been a huge blessing. I got to be born with my best friend. Interestingly enough, I married a fraternal twin. So I always joke that Trina's my better half, but then when you get married, your spouse is your better half, but he already has a twin, so that's his better half. So I'm really only a quarter of a person. So the book is also geared to help people who say, I want to know about my family history, but I don't even know where to start. And so they can start with chapter 1, and it's really us helping walk them through the process of gathering first all the data about themselves and learning about some basic forms on how to put their data, a pedigree chart, a family group chart. We do talk quite a bit in every chapter about internet sites and resources so they can continue on their own. And then we give them a little end of chapter assignment so that they can progress in building or digging for their own roots, climbing their family tree. The title, Whispers in the Leaves, again, we're just a belief that those family ancestors are whispering to you. They want to be found and to come climb that tree. It's kind of like playing hide and seek, but the treasure is a lot more fun.
That's really true, and I like that you mentioned that every chapter has a little how-to assignment, because I think that worked really well with Big World Network's episodic format. So it gave readers a chance to read the chapter and then put into practice what they read, and then next week we would have another little assignment for them. So I thought it was really perfect for Big World Network.
Oh, absolutely. I loved having the assignments, too, because admittedly I always wanted to steal all these ideas, which is the point, of course, to take these and use them ourselves. But, yeah, both of these books were just perfect for that episodic way of writing, and it was just a joy to be able to present them both. And actually, I should comment, too, since we also have audio for all of our episodes, Trina did all of her audio for Economy, and then the sisters kind of split and did a little bit of both for Climbing Family Trees. Though I admitted it is a little bit hard without them saying who is who for me to tell their voices apart sometimes, being twins.
Even our own mother can't tell our voices apart. If one of us was speaking, behind her back, she wouldn't know who it was. She'd have to turn and see which twin that was.
I believe it.
Amanda, it is not stealing of any good ideas because we are gladly giving them.
Absolutely.
Finding them all in the book. And that's really an amazing thing about people who do family history is they're an amazing group of people because they want to share and share their family trees and their pedigrees. So it's a wonderful community. If you're interested to start learning about your family history, then come find out from this book where you can start and how far you can climb your tree.
And it's never been easier because of the internet. It's so easy to find and have access to data that years prior we had to go to cemeteries to hunt for, or old dusty cabinets in basements of libraries. It's so much easier now.
And actually, since we're talking about, places that we can find things for the books, one of the next things we want to talk about is all the different websites and social networks that people can find you guys when they want to know more about what you're working on. So Trina already mentioned her main website is nice and easy to remember, trinaboice.com. And actually her Twitter is the same. It's @Trina Boice. And then Tracy's Twitter is long4HomeT. And I just wanted to pass it to you guys then if there were any other either Facebook, websites, other places where they could find more about you guys.
Oh, yes. Sure. Well, I'm on Pinterest. Tracy, do you have Pinterest boards?
Yes, but I don't have an account with books on it yet, and my own personal website will be launched by the end of May.
Great.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I'm on Pinterest just because Pinterest is like crack for women. I'm a real visual learner, and so I've got pictures of all kinds of things as well as my books and articles that kind of relate to the books. So you can find me, and I think my name is just Trina Boice on Pinterest. I'm also on Instagram, although most of the pictures that I end up posting on Instagram, and again, I think it's my name, Trina Boice, pretty boring, right, for supposedly a creative.
No, easy to find, easy to find.
If you know how to spell my name, I guess. But on Instagram, it's mostly pictures of food because during my day job I teach at Le Cordon Bleu, which is a culinary college here in Las Vegas. Actually, we have several across the United States, and of course the original one was in France. So most of it is yummy food that I'm eating all day long at school, and I have the weight to prove it. Let's see, and then where else am I? I'm on Goodreads, which is obviously a book social network. And let's see, I have a fun blog. I love movies. Of course, I love books, but I love movies. And so I have a blog called moviereviewmaven.blogspot.com. And we were talking about climbing family trees. Tracy mentioned we didn't include all of the stories that were sent to us in the book. So if you are really fascinated by those kinds of good goosebump stories, you can go to climbingfamilytrees.blogspot.com. And let's see what else I have. I have voicebox.blogspot.com and trinaboice.blogspot.com. Let's see, what else do I have? Anyway, that should get you started for sure.
Absolutely.
And I just have boxes.com at my house.
And then next, you already mentioned, that you have about 1 million different possible collaborations you have in the back burner. But Trina, I know you wanted to also mention that you have a current book that is just out now. You wanted to mention.
And here's the cover of that.
Yeah. Thanks. It's called Base Hits and Home Run Relationships. It just hit stores last week. My blog tour is going on right now at Trina. Wait, where is that? Yeah, I guess
too many to keep track of. Right?
Actually, I think I posted on all of them, but trinaboice.blogspot.com or voicebox.blogspot.com. Anyway, this has been a really fun book to write. It is really kind of you can see on the title, it says what women wish guys knew. So it has kind of 3 parts. One is for all guys, The second part is for the single guys who are kind of in the minor leagues, and then the married guys who are in the major leagues. And it kind of uses a motif of baseball. And the way that that came to be was many, many years ago. When my husband and I were first married, whoops, what happened? Oh, there we go.
We still got it.
When my husband and I were first married, I was doing all of the things that I thought a perfect wife was supposed to do, assuming that I was doing what my husband actually wanted. And my husband was really, really great at big events, you know, big birthday gifts or anniversary celebrations. And then there would be kind of this startling long pause of nothing. And so one day I was having a little pity party, and so I was telling him, I feel so unappreciated. I really love the big things that you do, but I think I need more frequent expressions of appreciation, you know, boo-hoo. And so he thought for a minute, and he said, oh, that's kind of like baseball. Home runs are exciting to watch, but it's the small base hits that are consistent and more frequent that win the game. And I was like, oh, that's a brilliant analogy. I'll have to write that into a book someday. That was like 25 years ago, so I finally wrote the book.
Yeah, you have a lot more experience now, so it was a 25-year book in the making.
That's true. And also, at the very beginning, before I had children, I was taking it from a newlywed's perspective. I now have 4 sons, and I want them to marry and have great relationships with their wives. So it was also kind of for a selfish purpose that I wrote the book, that I wanted to give my sons advice. This is what women hope, you know, out of relationships, whether it be a dating relationship or a marriage relationship. And then my oldest son actually contributed to the book. We call him Coach Cooper. His first name is Cooper. So he has a little part in each chapter where this is the way he tells it. He says, women will tell you what they think they want, but a guy will tell you what women really want. So he has a different perspective, and it's really great. So he's kind of got a fun addition to the book. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm kind of excited about it. It's been a really fun book to write. And I should brag and tell you, Tracy's daughter actually illustrated a couple of my books. She has a fantastic artistic, kind of a humorous artistic style. So she's done the illustrations for 2 of the books. One of them, let me think. Well, no, she didn't do. We didn't have illustrations for the books that I did with Big World Network, but maybe next one she'll do it.
She did illustrations for climbing family trees.
Yeah, no, actually that was, did she? I can't remember.
Because Trina has another son who is also an illustrator, and he illustrated another book of hers.
Yeah, he did a couple of them, actually.
Talented family.
Yeah. My computer's beeping. Did I disappear?
Nope,
You're still there. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but
I think when I share the image, it beeps on my end. Sorry about that.
No, can you hear my beeping?
Nope.
Yes, but we can still hear you talking.
Oh, okay. Good.
Last, what we ask everybody, we have our BWN 5 questions, which are just a series of questions we always ask the authors we do these interviews for. We actually can't ask you all 5, though, because one of them is, would you live in any of your books? Well, they're nonfiction, so you already are living in all of your books.
That's true. I'd like to live in some of your books, Amanda.
He's talented.
And this is...
Yep. Are you still there,
both
Amanda?
of you, books. Do you prefer ebook, paperback, hardcover?
I like all of them, actually. I think there's a time and a place for all of them. If I'm sitting at home, I like to curl up with an actual paper, hardback book. If I'm driving in the car, I definitely am putting on like audio CDs from books. And I love my Kindle too. In fact, I won my Kindle in a contest from Big World Network. Thank you very much.
That's right. I remember that.
When Big World Network first started.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I love a big stack of books. At my bedside table, it's kind of revealing what I'm into at the moment. I've got a variety of, my Kindle is sitting there along with my big gigantic stack of books. I've got Chinesey. I'm trying to learn Chinese. How to grow microgreens. Just kind of all kinds of crazy things right now. You can tell this is the geek that I am. Both Tracy and I are like this. We have stacks of nonfiction generally because there's so much great knowledge out there we want to learn about. So I'm listening to, what was it? The Rise and Fall of the British Empire. In fact, Tracy and I and our families are going to go to the British Isles in June. So now that we live so close, we can plan fun trips like that together. Anyway, so that's kind of stuff I'm reading. What are you reading, Tracy?
I just before this interview put down nursing pathophysiology, and before that it was pharmacology. So that seems to be a lot of what my mandatory reading is. But my own personal reading, I've been listening to Tony Robbins and his new Master Finance book. I've been listening to the audio book again of Stephen R. Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then I do tend to prefer a lot of nonfiction because, like Trina, I just feel like, man, this life is so short. I just want to learn everything that other people have learned. Another couple audiobooks that I've really loved was the 50 best what was it called? 50 best compilations of success and 50 best books on finance and prosperity. So I do a lot of that. I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I have some long commutes from my hospital and the campus that I teach at. And so I love listening to them while I'm weeding the garden. I have books in a lot of rooms. So we're pretty much identical that way, that we love to read and learn. So I'm so grateful for other really brilliant authors.
I was going to say, it's probably impossible then. One of our next question is, if you had to choose, what would your favorite book be? But I bet neither of you would be able to pick just one.
No.
Yeah, the book you're reading at the time. When I do get into nonfiction, I tend to just devour them like a bag of potato chips. So for when I was reading along with the Harry Potter series, as soon as it would come out, I'd be done in 2 days. So I pretty much just devour them. And at that time, that's my favorite book. So whatever I'm reading at the time. What would you say, Trin?
Oh, it's way too hard to choose. There are too many awesome books out there. When I was a little girl, I remember our mother taking us to the library, and we got our first library card, and I looked around. I mean, I remember this moment. That's the kind of book geek I am, I guess. And I remember seeing all these books and thinking, I'm going to read them all. And I really thought I could do it.
Well, yeah, that same elementary, so it must have been that same first impression of an experience in a library. I literally started with the very first row and picked out the very first book, and then I checked out the next book, and that's how I was systematically going to read the entire library. And to this day, I still feel like a real big part of heaven will be an amazing, massive library of knowledge. But when I was younger, there was a movie, and it was, I don't even remember the name of the movie, but this woman was struck by lightning, and so she developed this superpower, and she realized that just by kind of brushing off some dirt on a page, she realized she had read that page. And then pretty soon she could just put her hand on the book, and she read the entire book. And then she went through the library, and she had both of her hands and just scanning the books, and she was absorbing all that knowledge. And if I had a superpower, that would be one I would love to have.
That would be a good one. I have to agree.
I agree.
Well, you could learn languages that way too. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a fantastic superpower. Oh, the next question is, who inspires you the most in your life?
Tracy.
I was going to say, Trina, you beat me to it. I was going to say Trina. She's super inspiring to me because of all of her talents and her abilities and how she fits it all in one small lifetime. If she wrote down all of her biography, all of her accomplishments, we'd run out of paper. So, or she'd just have to kill us all. Tell us so she doesn't confess what she really does. So those are some. Well, you say, Trin.
Oh, well, instantly. I didn't even have to think about it. It's Tracy, for sure. Tracy has always inspired me. She runs circles around me. Don't let her fool you. And she's always doing something exciting and interesting that I want to do too. So, for example, as a nurse educator, she is taking some nurses and nursing students to Colombia this summer.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to go with her. She actually goes every summer, and this year is the first year that I'm going to be able to join her. So she's just, like I said, always doing fun adventures, and I'm like, me too, me too. In fact, she was born first, and I was like, me too, me too. So I just follow her around like her groupie.
That's why you're twin number 2. Okay.
Exactly.
And we kind of already covered the last one, which is it's kind of a 2-part question. You know, your favorite genres in reading. Well, you kind of a little bit of everything or whatever you're reading at the time. What about a least favorite genre? Anything you just kind of don't care for?
I don't care for horror at all.
Yeah.
Sure. Horror, spooky stuff I don't like.
Yeah, or just trashy nonsense. I mean, that probably goes without saying. Why waste my time when there's great knowledge out there to be had, I guess.
Good point. Very good point. Well, guys, this has been fantastic. You both cracked me up. You can see the interaction between you two and tell you're very close as twins. That's fantastic. Just a reminder to everyone, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for updates and watching all of these author interviews. And we have weekly indie news and self-publishing update, which is usually about a 2 to 3 minute news update for authors that self-publish on our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that. And of course, you can check out all of our episodic series on bigworldnetwork.com and subscribe to our newsletter, which is weekly, correct, Amanda?
Monthly.
Monthly. I knew that wasn't right. That's why I verified. And again, we're uploading audio episodes of the series all the time onto our YouTube channel. So both of you, this has been extremely enjoyable. You've been very animated, fantastic guests to have. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
It's been our pleasure, and we've enjoyed. What's that, Tracy? Sorry.
I said thanks so much.
Hey, it's been our pleasure. We've enjoyed working with you these last couple of years, and look forward to continue doing that. So. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a good evening, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks to the viewers, and thanks for those who are buying the books.
That's right.
And reading. Appreciate you. And like we always signed off on our family trees, happy heritage hunting.
I like that. I like that. Take care.
Thanks. We love you.